We thought it was just a rebellion when he was at a Christian high school, and so he just began to show signs of just rebellion, and so we began to deal with that by questioning him and by going to counseling. He began to see, and he wrote in the journal about how he felt about the drugs and wished that he could have changed things. But then it's later in his life he fell and injured his back. Mm-hmm. That's how he hooked up with Dr. Moore. And so with Aaron not having medical insurance, he sought out someone that would give him something for pain. Mm-hmm. And so yes, he is accountable to do that. But yet
he had legitimate pain.
He had legitimate pain, okay. And there was no monitoring of it or anything. And numerous times he would go down to the different medical centers, and when you don't have medical insurance and you're in pain, you don't get treated very well. And so a lot of these people, I feel like, not that they're forced to do it, but the whole system there's something, especially in Oklahoma, we're like, why are we the highest in drug addiction and mental illness? There's something, a real problem here.
There's a huge illegal drug culture out there, and it is rampant. It is out of control, wildfire, and an irresponsible pain management clinic, okay, just adds fuel to that fire. Mm-hmm. They should be more responsible, and they should be held accountable. They have a real responsibility.
Yes.
I always thought that doctors were there to save life. That's what they were trained for. That's what their skill is, their education, their background, and here they're abusing life, really.
Right.
I don't think they're actually treating pain. They're just giving drugs.
Pushing pills.
Right. And making money. This was a son that God had given us. When we first got married, we couldn't have children. And it dawned on us one day that we hadn't prayed about it. And we were Christians, okay, but the Lord led us to pray. Listen, you haven't asked me about this. So we prayed. And Aaron was a result of that prayer, okay? And so that day I crawled through the window, and there I saw Aaron, in bed, horribly disfigured, from just drugs and death. I thought to myself, death is an ugly thing, And from a Christian perspective, death is not the end, but it sure looks like it, okay? And I was just devastated to see my son, who was cold stone, ugly, dead. I thought, oh, how terrible. I was just devastated.
When the call came on that early morning, I had no idea of what words I would hear, and I was totally unprepared. I remember falling to the floor in anguish, crying out to God that this could not be real. It could not end this way. I screamed, I sobbed, I felt the worst pain I'd ever encountered. I felt like the prophet in Jeremiah 8:18. My joy is gone. Grief is upon me, my heart is sick within me. I cried so hard my heart within me felt as if a knife was plunged into its inner chambers. Our firstborn boy, our grown man son, our beloved son, who had challenged our faith in God and pulled us into a world we never knew existed. Our prayed for son, our brilliant son, now he was dead. I could not absorb the harsh reality. Dwight could not be there with me as he had to wait for the medical examiner. As I gasped for air, I found it difficult to breathe. My world seemed to be caving in. I lay on the floor and poured out my hurting heart to the Lord. And I knew that I would continue to cling to the Lord even when all my hopes and prayers felt destroyed at that moment. The Lord did not feel close to me. He felt far away. I felt suspended in my pain. I felt so alone, flailing about like one drowning. Yet I know now the Lord was there waiting for the struggling to cease so he could pull me up out of the waves of despair.